Alright guys, welcome back to the to-do list app, the beginning iOS developer course where we're gonna make the app, put it in the App Store. So let's go ahead, and we have the main storyboard, and we're gonna go ahead and have a functionality where we're gonna be able to add items to the list. So we do need an array, right? So we need like a data type. So I think the best thing to do, we're gonna discuss something called structs. So I'm gonna make a user data type. Actually, I can create a item data type. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a struct. So struct is basically, there's two different types. Remember I said we have class, and class is a reference type. It has an address in memory. But if I were to create a struct, so I'm going to create a struct of items, item, and in my item it's going to have, so let's see what item, see I have item name, and item, maybe we should have a date for the item, and we will have a type. And remember, what we think, one thing we didn't discuss is enum, so we're going to discuss that too. Enums is numeration. So now I want a type of item. So what type is it? Is it going to be, you're going to add a to-do list, is it going to be grocery? So say type, item type. And the way with enum works is there's a case. Remember we had the switch case, but this one has also case. So it's I would say grocery and case. I would say like clothes, shopping, or case. Maybe you have to do some legal stuff, or case business, or case let's see, what to-do list item can you do? Like maybe it's homework, case housework, case utilities. There's so many cases, right? But we're gonna just cover that. And then this one, the type will get item type now. So what we did is we created an enum is kind of like enumeration. So it basically, if the type, whenever you have like a type, you want to use enum, and it checks to see the type. The 0th, it's not an array, but it notes 0th is grocery, first is shopping. So it goes from the 0 base, and then I can set its type on my item. So whenever I initialize my item, I can set its type. So I can have an array of these items, right? So I'm gonna go at var list of items. Remember we had initialized the array initially before. So I'm just gonna have initial item list, but I have nothing, so I want to add item to the I want to add items to the list of items. So whenever I want to initialize this to item, and I want it to be I don't know the value, so I'm gonna have it optional, because in the beginning it's just null. So if it's null, it's optional. And this is also we don't need this protocol now. We're just testing it. Alright, so I want to go ahead and somehow add something to my user interface so I can add items, right? So what I need to do is add a plus. So I'm going to add a plus to this section right here. In order to do that, so go put plus here to library list, and I'm gonna go ahead and add a bar button. So you type in bar button, and I'm gonna go ahead and add that. Just go ahead and drag that item over to the right, and if you click on the item itself, you can click on this arrow down and it says style bordered. Okay, that's fine, but then the custom, I want to go ahead and say add. So if you change it to add, it's going to get plus. Now I can add items, so I need to connect. So the way you connect all these controls to the code is through IB outlets and IB actions. So what we do is we go to the code, and there's this plus button where it opens another view on the side, so we can have the UI next to us. So we want to be opening the storyboard. So once we have the storyboard open, go ahead and close this side, and then you can access it right there. Okay, so I want to be able to do something in this plus button, right? But I need a connection to that. So I need to connect it to the code. So how do I connect it to the code? I click on the left mouse button and go ahead and drag. We can go ahead and drag it. It's harder on a touchpad. So I can just do this then. So what I can do is I can take the action and drag it over. Right, another way to do it is just type in the class IB action. So what we need to do is create a method in here and call func add items. Add items. Okay, so just like that, but all we need to do is say it's on the front of it, it's an IB action. So if we type in IB action like that, now it's an IB action. And now also I want the sender, just put sender here, and I want it to be a UI button. So is this a UI button or a UI bar button? So if I click on here, and I'll know what type it is by just clicking on this newspaper, it says UI bar button item. So I have to say UI bar button item. Okay, and now I can go ahead and add items. I can do something to the table view when this is clicked. So we're just gonna go to print so now we need to connect this. So now it's telling me that, oh, I forgot. So we need to put this here. Okay, so what you need to do is put add sign, and then IB action, and then func add items, and then sender bar button item, and then say print add items. So now we can go ahead and run this, and we should be able to call that add item. So what we need to do is add item. So we're gonna run it on the iPhone 11 Pro. Alright, so we're ready to run it. Okay, so we have a plus button. So if I press the plus button and we look at the console, so in order to see the console, you press this button right here, and you expand this. So I need to close this button right here. Okay, and open this. So you expand the bottom, and if I say plus, it should output something here. If I say plus, and it did, it crashed. So let's see why it crashed. It says unrecognized add items. So maybe because we added it twice. So let's go ahead and go to main storyboard. And if you want to see what's going on with this, so go right click on it and add items. It says add items, right? And what do we have? Add item, add items. Okay, so it says unrecognized add items. So what we could do in that case is if we go to the storyboard and just go ahead and right click on it and go delete this connection, and this is completely deleted. So now we can go ahead and run it or put it again, the connection. So we're gonna go ahead and open the ViewController once again, and let's open into the cat where is our. So if you have lost your storyboard, you can just get it back like that and just go on this side. ViewController. Alright, so let's see if I have connected this correctly. If I go ahead and connect it here, plus, and I will make sure this is a ViewController, okay, and I should be able to call this now. It says reason. Okay, select. Alright, let's see if I can run this again. Oh, there you go. So it works now. It was just incorrectly connected. So I'm going to add items. It's easy. It's adding items. So if I go ahead and let's add items, real items. So we're going to go ahead and list of items. So we need items from. So for adding items, right? We want to be able to give some kind of output. So we can fill out all this data right here, the name, date, and type. So what we need to do is create another table, not a table view, but a view where we ask the user to enter stuff. So in order to do that, we can actually create a alert controller. So what we can do is do this. So we can say func. So when you are adding items, get input, get items, right? Get items from user, item data from user. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna say alert controller, UI alert controller, and we're gonna say action, UI alert action. And then so we're gonna go ahead and add a text field to this alert controller dot add text field, like that, and text, and let's go ahead and present it. So we have the ViewController, and remember we talked about presentation before. So we're basically presenting a view on top of it, and we're not pushing it, so it's not like a navigation. So we're saying present ViewController, and this is an alert controller, and we want it to be animated, and we don't want anything for the completion. So that's what it means. It's saying that you want animation for it, and you want it when it comes like, does it pop, like come, and with animation and completion, what happens afterwards. So an alert controller is basically a controller that we use to do pop-ups, and I want to do a pop-up because I just want to get data from the user. So it says UI alert action doesn't have so we need like a title for the action. So we could just do this, and then it's just the default, and what happens in the action. So action in. So let's go ahead and look at, so and then what is this action? Okay, so we're going to also add this action to the, so action is whatever, so whenever we're done getting the data, the user needs to say they're done, right? So that's what action is. So then we're gonna go ahead and after we're gonna add that list to the table view. So the table view is gonna be, we're gonna go ahead and list of items dot append, and it's gonna be this item. We need to insert all the data first, right? So in order to insert the data, we need to get everything from the text fields. So we need to add a couple of text fields. One text field is gonna be for, so one more time, text field. Let's see what it looks like first, and then we'll work on it. Let's see. So let's add the action to alert controller. Add action. So we have the action and so on, and then we're gonna do this once we click just get item. This is what happens here, and then let's just run so you can see what happens. Plus, okay, so we did crash, and what's going on here now? Text field can only be added to an alert controller style UI start alert. So we have to change this to an alert. UI controller. UI. Oh, this is action. Okay. Oh, we didn't do this right. Okay, so whenever we create a UI controller, you also have all these parts too. So, and message. Okay, so let's do that now. There we go. So we added two text fields but don't have a name for it. So we want to name this text field. So text dot title text. Let's see, text field. Okay, so that gives the text. So we can have like a label. We can have a that's some kind of like a label, so it tells it what it is, right? So let's go ahead and add a label first. Text dot placeholder. Okay, so let's put placeholder. Say it's the first text is we're gonna get the name of the item. name of item, item name, and then we're gonna say that second one is the what do we need? The date, and we're gonna have another text field. Another text field for the type. Placeholder is what's in behind of it, the text field. Okay, so if I have this, now I can get all that data, and if I get the data, I need to insert it. So I need to create an item, So I'm going to create an item, an empty item, and I'm going to put the item name, missing argument. So we need to initialize each part. So say just do, oh, actually I can just do it. Okay, for struct you can also have an init. So if I have an init like that, we don't need to put the items anymore. So it's good. Okay, so we don't need it. So now we can actually add the item dot name equals text dot text, right. And then item dot date equals text, because now it's telling me that it's a item is a so we need to make this a var, right? And then date is text dot text, and then this we need to do a date from string. So it's a string date so string from date, then we'll get a string from date. Just do time interval. So this we're gonna do actually, like, we're gonna get the date, and we need to create like a date object and get the time interval from that date. So what we need to do is, so if we're getting a string date, convert that to, so we'll do that later. I don't know. So let's go ahead and just do item. What is going on here? Item is, we already have item, right? Item dot name type, and over here we need to just do a switch. Let's just put the type is item type business or whatever.